Erev Tov, Rabbi. One of our friends in the community asked a good question, a couple of good questions. Everybody needs to know these things for Shabbat, for the laws of Shabbat. So what's the thing? Right? It's a mitzvah. The Chazal said it's a mitzvah for Shabbat to eat hot food on Shabbat. Why? Because it's oneg Shabbat. Eating cold food, you can't enjoy Shabbat like that, right? Cold food is not so good, not so not so pleasurable. So you want to have hot food for Shabbat. For every meal, you should try to have hot food, right? Especially the first two. Okay, the third one, sometimes we eat a little bit, whatever. But anyway, you should try. Anyway, the point is that since we're trying to have hot food for Shabbat, it's a mitzvah, right? Oneg Shabbat. The question is, how do we heat it up? This is the question, right? How do we keep it hot? How do we heat it up? These are the things that we need to know, right? So what people are doing, some of the families, they're putting the food in the oven, to keep it warm, to warm it up. They're putting it in the oven, So the question is, are you allowed to do this? To put the food in the oven, to keep it warm, to keep it hot, right? Whatever. So you say, okay, he already has the answer there, right? My friend over there. Okay, God bless you. So what's the rule, right? So the rule is like this, okay? That if you put something Erev Shabbat, before Shabbat, on Friday, right? Before Shkia, you put something in the oven, and you're keeping it warm there, you can take it out and eat it, no problem, right? There's no problem with that. No problem. Just take it out, open the oven, take it out and eat. But, right, that's fine, because, you're just removing it from there. Obviously you cannot close the oven yourself, right? If there's a timer, the timer will turn it off. That's fine, But you cannot close the oven. Of course, you cannot do that. So what's the rule? The rule is, that you're allowed to take it out, as we said. But now, what about what he asked me was not that. That's obvious. That's easy, right? Clear, right? His question was, can I put the food in on Shabbat? After Shabbat already came into the oven, warm it up a little bit, and then serve it, on Shabbat for the meal. So there, right? The answer is no, right? Like our friend told us over there, right? What's the reason why you can't do that? Because even if it's fully cooked, right? For sure, the food has to be fully cooked. Otherwise, you can't put it in the oven, right? On Shabbat, obviously, that's clear, because you're cooking like that, You're cooking it because it's not finished yet, the cooking. That's for sure. No question about it. But what about if it's fully cooked? There's a problem, Mixikin bashel, right? What does that mean? It looks like you're cooking, So the rabbis didn't want that on Shabbat, It looks like you're cooking it, even though it's fully cooked already. But when you put it in the oven, it looks like you're cooking. It looks like you're baking it. So therefore, the rabbis forbade, to put it into the oven like that on Shabbat. It's written in the Yalkut Yosef like that, and also many other books. Everybody seems to agree, right? Nobody. I don't think any posek allows this. To put the food back into the oven because it looks like you're cooking. There's a problem there. So therefore, right, this is not the proper thing to do. So the question is like this, Then what do you do, right? In order to solve this problem, to get around this problem, what do you do? So you know what the answer is, right? I tell him, my friend, do you have a Plata in your house? You have one? So he tells me, no, I use the oven. I told him, I said, what? You're living in the Stone Age? What? We're 21st century already. So why don't you go to the store and buy Plata? Because everybody's using the Plata for Shabbat. This is the best way to heat food for Shabbat. So why is in Israel, by the way, everybody uses it 100%, there isn't one family you're going to find no Plata there in Israel. All the families, they use it. Here, maybe, there are some who don't use it, some who do, whatever. But anyway, the point is, right, that the Plata is very good. Why? Because it doesn't have a button, to change the temperature, like the oven, there's no button there, usually. Usually there's no button, right? So you cannot really turn it up or turn it down. It's just regular, all the same heat all the time. That's the way the Plata works, There are some that have a button, but, those are like the Goyish ones, But the Jewish ones, the ones that are made by Jews, they have no button, Just you plug it in and that's it, right? It works one level, right? For everybody, This is the thing. So the Plata is a very good thing. Why? Because you can take something, let's say you have some dry food, right? Let's say you have some chicken and rice, plav, like something like that. For the Bukharians eat on Shabbat, plav. So what do? You can take it from the refrigerator out, in the morning, and put it on the Plata and heat it up. and you can have it if it's fully cooked, right? You can have it for your meal in the morning, right? In the afternoon, whatever. No problem, right? Why? Why is it allowed to put on the plata? Because the plata doesn't look like you're cooking. Why? Because it's not the derech. It's not the way to cook on a plata. People usually don't cook on the plata. Even though the plata can cook, it can cook. Believe me. If you leave it there for a couple of hours, it'll cook. But it can cook, but it's not the way to cook on a plata. Usually people use the plata for warming. Not for cooking. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So therefore, right, if you want to do that, and you should want to do that, because you want to have hot food, as we said, right, for Shabbat. You don't want to wake up in the morning, come home from shul, and then have a cold lunch, for Shabbat. What kind of Shabbat is that? That's not Shabbat, right? You got to have some hot food. So how do you do that, right? Very simple. Have a plata, and take it out of the fridge and put it on the plata, right? That's the thing, If the food is dry, you can do that, But if it's like soup, or like chamin, cholent with a lot of water, it's mostly water, mostly sauce, then you cannot put it on the plata. So what you have to do is, keep it like on the plata, like all night, like we do, like Ashkenazim, they keep it all night. This is the nice way to do it. So this way, right, you have no problem. You keep it there all night, it cooks all night, and you have it nice and hot in the morning. Right? This is the way to do it, Or there's another way to do it, which is that a person can use the plata with a timer, like a Shabbat clock, Shabbos clock, right? So how does that help you? You plug it into the wall, right? You plug the plata in there, and the plata is going to be off in the morning, right? When you wake up, it's off. It's not on yet. So then, right, when it's off, you can even put soup over there, Why? Because it's not on yet. So this is the way to solve the problem, So with the plata, you have a lot of options, You can do lots of things over there to heat up your food. You can heat up anything on the plata, just about, if you know how to do it. So therefore, this is the way to do it, If you want to, right, if you have a nice Shabbat meal, right, with hot food, that's the mitzvah, to have like that. That's the way it is. That's one thing. Another interesting thing that he asked me was like this, He says that I like to eat, salmon, fish, right, on Shabbat. Everybody likes salmon, it's good fish, right, whatever. So he says what we do is, my family, we cook it like halfway, 50%, halfway. And then on Shabbat, we want to put it again, to finish the cooking, on Shabbat. Because this way it comes out nice and fresh, right? So is that allowed to do that, or is that a problem?
Is that Shabbat? You can do it? Or
no, we're talking about on Shabbat, right? On Shabbat, yeah, on Shabbat, right. Can you put, right, it's 50% cooked, the fish, right? It's not 100%. It's not. So can you put that on the plata or in the oven, whatever, right? Something like that. So I told him, I said, no, this is not allowed. Why? Because if it's not fully cooked, the fish, when you put it on the plata or you put it into the oven, you're cooking it right now. You understand? This is asur. Asur. Of course, yeah. Not allowed to do that. Because you're cooking it now. It's not fully cooked yet, So you should never put something on the plata or anywhere, whether it's the plata or the oven, something which is not cooked on Shabbat, not fully cooked, because you're cooking it now. Asur bishul on Shabbat, right? You're not allowed to do that. So therefore, this is not the way to do it, So you have to find a better way to do these kinds of things, cannot do it this way, So cook it fully, nice fully cooked, and then you can heat it up. That you can do, but not this way, halfway cooked, right? Half cooked, you cannot put on the plata like that, right? No, asur. There's no, because you're cooking it right now. Okay, very good. So I guess any questions? You have any questions on that? Okay, whatever. So Bezrat Hashem. I guess we'll stop there. ברוך ה' לעולם, אמן ואמן. רבי חנניה בן הקשה אומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לעזוב את ישראל, לפיכך ידבר להם צום ומצוות שנאמר אדוני חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר. אמן.